It does not move, make a sound, or do anything that would immediately draw your attention to its presence. You may have stepped right past one in your garden, assuming it was a harmful insect or a useless pest. It does not announce itself in any way. Instead, it simply waits with a level of patience that seems almost unnatural. Completely motionless, it blends so perfectly into the green world around it that its body nearly disappears among the leaves. You could pass within a few inches of it and never realize that one of nature's most remarkable hunters was sitting there. Then, within a fraction of a second, and with more speed than your eyes can follow, it suddenly strikes. So, what exactly is this creature, and why do so many people feel an unusual shiver when they first encounter one? Perhaps it is the way its head turns slowly and deliberately, as though it is carefully studying every movement you make. As the only insect on Earth capable of looking directly over its shoulder, it somehow appears almost too intelligent and too aware. Today, I will tell you about this creature exactly the way my grandfather showed it to me one summer afternoon in his garden. I was walking between my grandfather's tomato seedlings when I suddenly locked eyes with something standing perfectly still among the plants. It remained so motionless that I could not shake the feeling that it was staring directly back at me. Just as I started reaching toward it, my grandfather stopped me and said, "Wait a moment, son. Before you touch it, you should know what it is. The day this creature chooses your garden may actually be one of the best things that can happen to your outdoor space. Once you understand why, you may find yourself doing everything possible to make it feel welcome and encourage it to remain." The praying mantis possesses the fastest predatory strike ever scientifically measured in any animal. Researchers at the University of Cambridge recorded these attacks under laboratory conditions, finding that they could be completed in only 30 to 50 milliseconds. "It is so fast, son," Grandpa said, "that its prey has no opportunity to understand what is happening, much less react. The strike is faster than a human blink and can be difficult for many high-speed cameras to capture under their standard settings." The biological mechanism responsible for producing this remarkable speed was just as extraordinary as the strike itself. A praying mantis stores energy inside a specialized structure in its front leg, loading it much like a biological spring. It releases that stored energy in a single explosive movement, producing an attack that is not only incredibly fast, but remarkably precise. Research has shown that a mantis calculates the trajectory of moving prey before launching its attack. Rather than aiming at the prey's current position, it strikes toward the place where the prey will be when its front legs arrive. "It is like a hunter leading a moving bird with a rifle, son," Grandpa explained. The mantis makes real-time predictions about the next few milliseconds. This behavior was more than a simple automatic instinct, because it required active and dynamic calculations while the target continued moving. All of those calculations were taking place inside an insect brain no larger than a sesame seed. This was exactly where the mantis's astonishing hunting abilities became directly relevant to the health of your garden. Every aphid, caterpillar, whitefly, grasshopper, moth, and other pests damaging your plants was potential prey for a praying mantis. A single adult mantis could consume dozens of harmful insects every week while continuously patrolling its territory. It hunted during both the day and night, displaying a level of patience and efficiency that no pesticide spray could truly imitate. Unlike a chemical spray, the mantis selected living, moving prey instead of indiscriminately affecting everything within a treated area. It did not drift through the air, settle into the soil, or contaminate the water surrounding your plants. It also did not automatically kill beneficial insects simply because they happened to be resting on nearby flowers. The mantis hunted whatever was moving, and in a garden, that movement often belonged to something feeding on your plants. But the praying mantis was not merely a hunter waiting for an opportunity to attack. It was also an incredibly advanced biological sensor. It possessed 5 eyes, each performing a different function within one of the insect world's most sophisticated visual systems. Its 2 enormous compound eyes detected movement across a field of vision covering nearly 300 degrees. 3 smaller simple eyes, arranged in a triangle across its forehead, detected light intensity and helped the mantis orient itself. Its compound eyes also contained a specialized region called a fovea, once believed to exist only in vertebrate eyes like our own. That region provided the mantis with sharp, concentrated central vision, allowing it to examine a target with extraordinary accuracy. Researchers at Newcastle University discovered that mantises use a unique form of 3-dimensional vision known as asymmetric stereopsis. Unlike any other visual system currently known, it allowed them to judge depth and distance with impressive accuracy even in low light. "That visual system, son," Grandpa said, "makes the mantis one of the most spatially aware creatures in the entire insect world." It knew precisely where objects were positioned throughout its territory and continuously tracked every movement taking place around it. The mantis processed this visual information in real time with a level of sophistication that continued to surprise researchers. If a praying mantis lived in your garden, it was doing far more than simply hunting whatever wandered within reach. It was watching, and almost nothing could move through its territory without entering its awareness. Grandpa then reached a part of the story that many people found deeply unsettling, although understanding it changed the entire picture. Female praying mantises were famous for sexual cannibalism, particularly the idea that they regularly ate males during or after mating. This became one of popular biology's best-known facts, but it was also one of the most frequently misrepresented. It usually happens under laboratory conditions, son, where the female cannot escape and has often been deliberately deprived of food, Grandpa explained. Cannibalism was common under those confined and stressful conditions, which greatly influenced the behavior researchers initially observed. Under natural conditions in the wild, field studies suggested that cannibalism occurred in only about 25 to 30% of mating encounters. However, when cannibalism did occur, the female received an important nutritional boost that directly increased the number of eggs she could produce. In a genuine biological sense, the male sometimes contributed more to the next generation by being consumed than he would have by surviving. It is brutal by human standards, son, Grandpa said, but by the standards of evolutionary biology, it is remarkably elegant. The egg case produced by the female was called an ootheca, and it was one of the insect world's most remarkable structures. Roughly the size and shape of a human thumb, its foam-like material hardened to provide insulation from cold temperatures and protection from predators. A single ootheca could contain anywhere from 100 to 400 individual praying mantis eggs. The female attached each egg case to a plant stem or branch during late summer or fall, leaving it securely in place. The eggs remained protected inside throughout the winter before hatching during the warmer days of spring. Dozens or even hundreds of perfectly formed miniature mantises could emerge from a single egg case. Each young mantis was already a hunter, already patient, already alert, and already equipped to kill prey. If you find an ootheca in your garden during winter, son, you are holding the future of your garden's natural pest control. Do not remove it or disturb it. Leave it exactly where it is, and your garden may be filled with an army of efficient hunters in spring. There was another dimension to the praying mantis that science had only recently begun to explore. Researchers studying mantis behavior had documented something that could only reasonably be described as individual personality. Some mantises were consistently bold, approaching quickly, striking rapidly, and showing a greater willingness to accept risk. Others were noticeably cautious, moving more slowly, selecting prey carefully, and retreating more readily from uncertain situations. These behavioral differences remained consistent within individual mantises over time, rather than changing unpredictably from one encounter to another. They were not random variations in behavior, but stable characteristics belonging to specific individuals. In other words, son, Grandpa said, the praying mantis living in your garden has a character of its own. It has tendencies, preferences, and a unique way of interacting with the world around it. It was not simply running a biological program. In a meaningful sense, each mantis behaved like an individual. Ancient cultures seem to have understood this intuitively long before modern researchers began examining mantis behavior. In Chinese tradition, the praying mantis had represented patience, concentration, and courage for thousands of years. Tanglong Quan, or praying mantis kung fu, was said to have been developed during the 17th century. According to tradition, a monk spent months observing a single mantis hunt before building an entire fighting system around the movements he witnessed. In ancient Egypt, a mantis-like deity was associated with guiding lost souls through the dangerous journey beyond death. Among several indigenous cultures of southern Africa, the mantis figure known as Kagan was a trickster god and a central spiritual figure in San cosmology. To these people, the mantis was not a pest, an inconvenience, or something that needed to be removed. It was a god. Those cultures did not invent that meaning from nothing, son, Grandpa said. They watched the natural world with extraordinary care for extraordinarily long periods. What they saw in the praying mantis was a living creature worthy of attention, admiration, and respect. So, Grandpa, how do we invite one to live in our garden? I asked after listening to everything he had explained. His answer was almost entirely about what we needed to stop doing rather than what we needed to begin doing. You must stop using broad-spectrum pesticides, son, he said, because a garden soaked in insecticide offered a mantis nothing to hunt. A praying mantis would not remain in a place without reliable prey, and pesticides also killed mantises and their egg cases directly. We also needed to stop keeping every part of the garden excessively trimmed, cleared, and perfectly organized. Mantises required layered vegetation, tall grasses, dense shrubs, and standing stems where they could hunt, hide, and attach their egg cases. A perfectly maintained and heavily pruned garden offered them very little shelter, structure, or reason to stay. Leave the stem standing, son. Grandpa said. Preserve the structural complexity that makes your garden feel like a place worth living. Supporting a wide variety of plants was equally important for creating an environment where mantises could thrive. A diverse garden supported a diverse insect population, and that population provided reliable prey throughout the growing season. Reliable prey encouraged mantises to remain in the garden, continue hunting, find mates, and eventually leave their egg cases behind. If you were fortunate enough to have a mantis settle in your garden, you needed to resist every urge to handle, move, or interfere with it. Just watch, son, Grandpa said. Give it space and allow it to do what it has spent more than 100 million years perfecting. The service a praying mantis provided could not be purchased from a garden center, ordered online, or applied from a spray bottle. It was real, ancient, precise, and completely on your side as long as your garden remained a place where it could survive. The next time you see something standing perfectly still on a leaf and get the strange feeling that it is watching you, look carefully before walking away. You may be standing in the presence of one of the world's most advanced hunters, and it may have already chosen your garden as its home. Have you ever discovered a praying mantis in your garden or found one of its egg cases during the winter? Tell me about it in the comments below because I would genuinely like to hear about your experience. I read every story people share with me, and each one reveals something different about the hidden life taking place in our gardens. Ever since that summer afternoon, I have taken a second look at everything standing motionless among the plants in my own garden. Perhaps what I am looking at understands far more about the world around it than I initially imagined. If you would like to meet another silent guardian that works through the night while most gardeners completely overlook it, the next video is one you will not want to miss.